authority.
All those who truly love God will return before the throne He sits.
The practical and true God, the love inside my heart. I am dust, but I can see your face. How can I not worship you? I wanted to cry, but no place felt right. I wanted to sing, but no song was found. I wanted to express the love of a created being, searching high and low, but no words could say just how I feel. Practical and true God, the love inside my heart. I lift my hands in praise. I rejoice that you came into this world. Man came from dust, and God gave him life. Satan came down to corrupt mankind, lost all their humanity and reason. Generation after generation, fallen since that day. But you are the practical and true God, the love inside my heart. I am dust, but I can see your face. How can I not worship the practical and true God, the love inside my heart? I am dust, but I can see your face. How can I not worship you? God created man and loves him so that he became flesh again, bore good and bad, adversity and sorrow, saving us and bringing us to a beautiful place. We will always thank you, the practical and true God, the love inside my heart. Corrupt, but you have saved me. How can I not worship the practical and true God, the love inside
一切，神又在至高处支配一切。同样，神在地实行了他的拯救。神无时不在隐秘处观望所有人的一举一动、一言一行。神对人无一不是了如指掌。隐秘之处是神的居所，整个穹苍是神躺卧之处。撒旦的势力不得临近神，以神满载威严，公义审判。纵观宇宙全貌，神又曾在所有的人中间行走，提倡人间的酸甜苦辣。但人不曾真正认识神，不曾在神行走之时注意过神。因神默默无语，不曾做超然的事，因此未尝有人真看见神。如今在不必遗忘，如今在不必遗忘，神要做创世以难，人未曾见过的事。神要说历代以来人未曾听过的话，因神要求让所有的人都认识在肉身的神，因神要求让所有的人都认识在肉身的神。
Let there be light. Let there be a firmament in the middle of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together to one place, and let the dry land appear. Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven. Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last.
是美景长新的景象。一切都已复苏，都已更新，都已升阶。众子民喜气洋洋赞美神，赞美的声音冲破三层天，
冲破三层天，
赞美吧，欢呼吧，歌唱吧，众子民都在尽情赞美神，
赞美吧，欢呼吧，歌唱吧，
众子民都在尽情赞美神。哈利路亚！哈利路亚！
爱神的人都顺服神，活出神话的世纪，人都脱去了污秽败坏，得着洁净，荣耀见证神的生命，满足神的心意，全地都充满圣洁公义，美景长新的景象。赞美吧，欢呼吧，歌唱吧，从心里发出真实的赞美。赞美吧，欢呼吧，歌唱吧，从心里发出真实的赞美。
哈利路亚，赞美神，赞美神。
赞美神的大功告成，神已完全得着荣耀，众子民都已归服在神前，各尽公用，各守本位，活在神的话里，在神前敬拜神，赞美神，与神一同沉浸在幸福之中。赞美吧，我们一同欢呼吧，赞美的声音永不止息。赞美吧，我们一同歌唱吧，赞美的声音永不止息。赞美吧，我们一同欢呼吧，赞美的声音永不止息。赞美吧，我们一同歌唱吧，赞美的声音永不止息，永不止息。 that once said such words. What God says counts and shall come to pass.
Can't be changed by anyone, no matter if it's words said before
Or words yet to be said. They all shall be fulfilled, so that everyone can see. Everything in the universe is determined by God. What is not in the hands of God? Anything that God says will be done. Able to change the will of God. Nothing can hinder God's plan from moving ahead. God is working at all times. All things are in God's hand.
God is always working on the planning of His management.
Who is able to interfere? Doesn't God still orchestrate everything? The state things that entered today is still within God's plan and vision.
Not in the hands of God. Anything that God says will be done. Who is able to change the will of God? Nothing can hinder God's plan from moving ahead. God is working at all times. All things are in God's hand. This is what He has preordained. God's people shall listen to His voice. All those who truly love God will return before the throne He sits. Everything in the universe is determined by God. What is not in the hands of God? Anything that God says will be done. Who is able to change the will of God? Nothing can hinder God's plan from moving ahead. God is working at all times. All things are in God's hand. All things are in God's hand.
God Himself, the unique, 1. God's authority, 1. On the fourth day, the seasons, days, and years of mankind come into being as God exerts His authority once again. The Creator used His words to accomplish His plan, and in this way He passed the first 3 days of His plan. During these 3 days, God was not seen to busy about or to exhaust Himself. on the contrary, he passed a wonderful first 3 days of his plan and achieved the great undertaking of the world's radical transformation. A brand new world appeared before his eyes, and piece by piece, the beautiful picture that had been sealed within his thoughts was finally revealed in the words of God. The appearance of each new thing was like the birth of a newborn baby, and the Creator took pleasure in the picture that had once been in his thoughts, but which had now been brought to life. At this time, his heart gained a sliver of satisfaction, but his plan had only just begun. In the blink of an eye, a new day had arrived. And what was the next page in the Creator's plan? What did he say? And how did he exert his authority? And at the same time, what new things came into this new world? Following the guidance of the Creator, our gaze falls on the 4th day of God's creation of all things, a day which was yet another new beginning. Of course, for the Creator, it was undoubtedly another wonderful day, and another day of the utmost importance for the mankind of today. It was, of course, a day of inestimable value. How was it wonderful? How was it so important? And how was it of inestimable value? Let us first listen to the words spoken by the Creator. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light on the earth." Genesis 1:14 and 15. This was another exertion of God's authority that was shown forth by creatures following His creation of dry land and the plants within it. For God, such an act was equally easy, because God has such power. God is as good as His word, and His word shall be accomplished. God ordered lights to appear in the heaven, and these lights not only shone in the sky and upon the earth, but also served as signs for day and night, for seasons, days, and years. In this way, as God spoke His words, every act that God wished to achieve was fulfilled according to God's meaning and in the manner appointed by God. The lights in the heaven are matter in the sky that can radiate light. They can illuminate the sky and can illuminate the land and seas. They revolve according to the rhythm and frequency commanded by God, and light up different time periods upon land. And in this way, revolution cycles of the lights cause day and night to be produced in the east and west of the land. And they are not only signs for night and day, but through these different cycles they also mark the feasts and various special days of mankind. They are the perfect complement and accompaniment to the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter, issued forth by God, together with which the lights harmoniously serve as regular and accurate marks for the lunar terms, days, and years of mankind. Although it was only after the advent of farming that mankind began to understand and encounter the separation of lunar terms, days, and years caused by the lights created by God, in fact, the lunar terms, days, and years that man understands today began to be produced long ago on the 4th day of God's creation of all things. And so too did the interchanging cycles of spring, summer, autumn, and winter experienced by man begin long ago on the 4th day of God's creation of all things. The lights created by God enabled man to regularly, precisely, and clearly differentiate between night and day, and count the days, and clearly keep track of the lunar terms and years. The day of the full moon was the completion of 1 month, and from this man knew that the illumination of lights began a new cycle. The day of the half moon was the completion of 1/2 of a month, which told man that a new lunar term began, from which it could be inferred how many days and nights were in a lunar term, how many lunar terms were in a season, and how many seasons were in a year, and all was regularly displayed. And so, man could easily keep track of the lunar terms, days, and years marked by the revolutions of the lights. From this point onward, mankind in all things unconsciously lived amongst the orderly interchange of night and day and alternations of the seasons produced by the revolutions of the lights. This was the significance of the Creator's creation of the lights on the 4th day. Similarly, the aims and significance of this action of the Creator were still inseparable from His authority and power. And so, the lights made by God and the value that they would soon bring to man were another masterstroke in the exertion of the Creator's authority. In this new world, in which mankind had yet to make an appearance, the Creator had prepared evening and morning, the firmament, land and seas, grass, herb, and various types of trees, and the lights, seasons, days, and years for the new life that He would soon create. The authority and power of the Creator were expressed in each new thing that He created, and His words and accomplishments occurred simultaneously without the slightest discrepancy and without the slightest interval. The appearance and birth of all these new things were proof of the authority and power of the Creator. He is as good as His word, and His word shall be accomplished, and that which is accomplished lasts forever. This fact has never changed. So it was in the past, so it is today, and so it will be for all eternity. When you look once more at those words of Scripture, do they feel fresh to you? Have you seen new content and made new discoveries? That is because the deeds of the Creator have stirred your heart and guided the direction of your knowledge of His authority and power, and opened the door to your understanding of the Creator. And His deeds and authority have bestowed life upon these words. And so in these words, man has seen a real, vivid expression of the Creator's authority, and truly witnessed the supremacy of the Creator, and beheld the extraordinariness of the authority and power of the Creator. The Creator's authority and power produce miracle after miracle, and He attracts man's attention, and man cannot help but stare transfixed at the astounding deeds born from the exertion of His authority. His phenomenal power brings delight after delight, and man is left dazzled and overjoyed, and he gasps in admiration, is awestruck, and cheers. What's more, man is visibly moved, and there is produced in him respect, reverence, and attachment. The authority and deeds of the Creator have a great impact upon the spirit of man, and cleanse the spirit of man, and, moreover, sate the spirit of man. Every one of His thoughts, every one of His utterances, and every revelation of His authority is a masterpiece among all things, and is a great undertaking most worthy of the created mankind's deep understanding and knowledge. When we count every creature born from the words of the Creator, our spirits are drawn to the wonder of God's power, and we find ourselves following the footprints of the Creator to the next day, the 5th day of God's creation of all things. Let us continue reading the scripture passage by passage as we take a look at more of the Creator's deeds. On the fifth day, life of varied and diverse forms exhibits the authority of the Creator in different ways. Scripture says, "And God said, Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moves, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good." Genesis 1:20 through 21. Scripture clearly tells us that on this day, God made the creatures in the waters and the birds of the air, which is to say that He created the various fish and birds and classed them each according to kind. In this way, the earth, the skies, and the waters were enriched by God's creation. As God's words were spoken, fresh new life, each with a different form, instantly came alive amidst the words of the Creator. They came into the world jostling for position, jumping, frolicking for joy. Fish of all shapes and sizes swam through the water. Shellfish of all kinds grew out of the sands. Scaled, shelled, and spineless creatures hurriedly grew forth in different forms, whether great or small, long or short. So too did various kinds of seaweed begin to briskly grow, swaying to the motion of the various aquatic life, undulating, urging the stagnant waters as if to say to them, "Shake a leg, bring your friends, for you'll never be alone again." From the moment that the various living creatures created by God appeared in the water, each fresh new life brought vitality to waters that had been quiescent for so long, and ushered in a new era. From that point onward, they nestled against each other, and kept each other's company, and conferred no distinction upon each other. The water existed for the creatures within it, nourishing each life that resided within its embrace, and every life existed for the sake of the water because of its nourishment. Each conferred life upon the other, and at the same time, each, in the same way, bore testament to the miraculousness and greatness of the Creator's creation, and to the unsurpassable power of the Creator's authority. As the sea was no longer silent, so too did life begin to fill the skies. One by one, birds, big and small, flew up into the sky from the ground. Unlike the creatures of the sea, they had wings and feathers covering their slim and graceful figures. They fluttered their wings, proudly and haughtily displaying their gorgeous coat of feathers and their special functions and skills bestowed upon them by the Creator. They soared freely and skillfully shuttled between heaven and earth, across grasslands and forests. They were the darlings of the air. They were the darlings of all things. They would soon become the tie between heaven and earth and would pass on the messages to all things. They sang, they joyfully swooped about, they brought cheers, laughter, and vibrancy to this once empty world. They used their clear, melodious singing, used the words within their hearts to praise the Creator for the life bestowed upon them. They cheerfully danced to display the perfection and miraculousness of the Creator's creation, and would devote their whole lives to bearing testament to the authority of the Creator through the special life that He had bestowed upon them. Regardless of whether they were in the water or of the skies, by the command of the Creator, this plethora of living things existed in the different configurations of life. And by the command of the Creator, they gathered together according to their respective species. And this law, this rule, was unalterable by any creatures. Never did they dare to go beyond the bounds set forth for them by the Creator, nor were they able to. As ordained by the Creator, they lived and multiplied and strictly adhered to the life course and laws set for them by the Creator, and consciously abided by His unspoken commands and the heavenly edicts and precepts that He gave them, all the way up to today. They conversed with the Creator in their own special way, and came to appreciate the meaning of the Creator and obeyed His commands. None ever transgressed the authority of the Creator, and His sovereignty and command over them was exerted within His thoughts. No words were issued forth, but the authority that was unique to the Creator controlled all the things in silence that possessed no language function, and which differed from mankind. The exertion of His authority in this special way compelled man to gain a new knowledge and make a new interpretation of the Creator's unique authority. Here, I must tell you that on this new day, the exertion of the Creator's authority demonstrated once more the uniqueness of the Creator. Next, let us take a look at the last sentence of this passage of Scripture. God saw that it was good. What do you think this means? Here, we get a glimpse of God's emotions. God watched all things that He had created come into being and stand fast because of His words, and gradually begin to change. At this time, was God satisfied with the various things that He had made with His words and the various acts that He had achieved? The answer is that God saw that it was good. What do you see here? What does it represent that God saw that it was good? What does it symbolize? It means that God had the power and wisdom to accomplish that which He had planned and prescribed, to accomplish the goals that He had set out to accomplish. When God had completed each task, did He feel regret? The answer is still that God saw that it was good. In other words, not only did He feel no regret, but was instead satisfied. What does it mean that He felt no regret? It tells us that God's plan is perfect, that His power and wisdom are perfect, and that it is only by His authority that such perfection can be accomplished. When man performs a task, can he, like God, see that it is good? Can everything that man does accomplish perfection? Can man complete something once and for all eternity? Just as man says, nothing's perfect, only better, nothing that man does can attain perfection. When God saw that all that He had done and achieved was good, everything made by God was set by His words, which is to say that when God saw that it was good, all that He had made assumed a permanent form, was classed according to type, and was given a fixed position, purpose, and function once and for all eternity. Moreover, their role among all things and the journey that they must take during God's management of all things had already been ordained by God and were immutable. This was the heavenly law given by the Creator to all things. God saw that it was good. These simple, underappreciated words, so often ignored, are the words of the heavenly law and heavenly edict given to all creatures by God. They are another embodiment of the Creator's authority, one that is more practical and more profound. Through His words, the Creator was not only able to gain all that He set out to gain and achieve all that He set out to achieve, but could also control in His hands all that He had created and rule all things that He had made under His authority, and, furthermore, all was systematic and regular. All things also lived and died by His word, and, moreover, by His authority they existed amidst the law that He had set forth, and none was exempt. This law began at the very instant that God saw that it was good, and it shall exist, continue, and function for the sake of God's plan of management right up until the day that it is repealed by the Creator. The unique authority of the Creator was manifested not only in His ability to create all things and command all things to come into being, but also in His ability to govern and hold sovereignty over all things, and bestow the life and vitality upon all things. And, moreover, in His ability to cause, once and for all eternity, all things that He would create in His plan to appear and exist in the world made by Him in a perfect shape, and a perfect life structure, and a perfect role. So too was it manifested in the way that the thoughts of the Creator were not subject to any constraints, were not limited by time, space, or geography. Like His authority, the unique identity of the Creator shall remain unchanged from everlasting to everlasting. His authority shall always be a representation and symbol of His unique identity, and His authority shall forever exist side by side with His identity.
Step by step, the Creator did the work intended according to His plan. One by one, they appear, the things intended according to His plan. All things exist under His authority. All creatures give thanks to Him for His provision and His grace. Whatever shape or structure doesn't matter, all were made by the Creator. Piece by piece, the world did grow, miraculous deeds, creating many things. From chaos and darkness, clarity and brightness, deathly stillness turned limitless light. All things exist under his authority. All creatures give thanks to him for his provision and his grace. Whatever shape or structure doesn't matter, all were made by the Creator. Hey, hey, hey. All of creation, great to small, small to tiny, made by God. A unique and inherent necessity and value to the existence of every creature. All things exist under his authority. All creatures give thanks to him for his provision and his grace. Whatever shape or structure doesn't matter, all were made by the Creator. All were made by the Creator. Step by step, the world did grow, made by God according to his plan.